All right. Hey. Ira Coleman here, founder of Fluent Hustle. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I have Shane Elliott, the co-owner of Nomad Logistics on the show today. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Really appreciate you taking the time to come downtown to hang out with us. Phenomenal opportunity. Shane and I met over the summer at a networking experience. And we were just kind of in the same training, actually. And we had an opportunity to connect and get to know each other. And very inspiring individual, 27 years old, owns a logistics moving company for residential and commercial. So I reached out to him about a week or so ago and said, I have to get you on the Fluent Hustle Facebook Live. And he said, without a doubt, I'll be there. So again, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, thanks for having me. And excited to hear what Fluent Hustle is all about, and always like an opportunity to talk about Nomad and what we're doing over there.
Awesome. So let's talk about you first, right? I understand that you have a brother.
Yeah.
So you have Sam, who's also your co-owner. Right?
Yeah.
Your
My
partner
in crime. We started the business together and are actually closer now. I would say we have avoided the big blow-ups that a lot of siblings may have in a business venture that they went into together. So I think it's actually been a pretty good positive for us.
Awesome. Because some situations they say they kind of tear you apart, but it seems like you guys get closer together.
Yeah. Not to say we haven't had a few months here and there,
Who's the older brother? You or Sam?
I'm older by 17 months, so we're pretty close.
And who's the more dominant one?
I would say
without calling. Hey, Sam, I'm not trying to call it out. I just want to get to the point.
I would say probably me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's kind of talk about you. So you and Sam, started Nomad Logistics. But before we get to that point, let's talk about your personal history. Was there ever a time when you were younger that you wanted to get into business, or is this something that kind of came up, over the course of, through different experiences?
Doesn't everyone aspire to be a mover?
Right. A mover and a shaker, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think, growing up, I was kind of entrepreneurial and always wanted to start a business, but I had no idea what that might be.
Yeah.
Like the finance world, like working with my hands, doing stuff like that. And really had no idea what direction I would end up going in life. And what I liked about the moving industry and really blue-collar work in general is that the business model itself is very simple, and you can wrap your head around that, yet the work itself is not always simple. But,
sure.
So that's kind of what appealed to me in terms of, starting a business and specifically in moving, is that the business model makes sense and that the cash flows, are right there for you.
All right, so before we get to that, what was your first job?
My first job ever was working at Westwood's golf course.
Yeah.
And that was probably the best job you could ever have.
Are you a pretty good golfer?
I am. Yeah, I actually coach the Ralston Valley golf team as well. Yeah, and on the side of running Nomad Logistics, I'm the assistant coach behind Jeff Wassinger over there.
Great for you.
Yeah. So.
Well, you and I have to try and get some tee times in this spring and summer.
Yeah. No, I'd love to.
And I need some lessons, so hopefully you need a couple of pointers on that. All right, guys. Ira Coleman here, founder of Fluent Hustle, again here with Shane Elliott, the co-owner of Nomad Logistics. We have him giving us a quick background of who he is, what he's about, discussing how you and your brother got into this particular industry. They had just had their 1-year anniversary back in January. So congratulations to making that happen.
Thank you.
They say the first year is the hardest year, right?
I hope so.
Well, hopefully it gets better. So you went to Colorado State University. I see that you're rocking your Rammies gear today too.
Go Rammies.
Okay. What did you study in college?
I was in finance. So actually went to college initially in the engineering program and decided that that wasn't for me, and wanted to stick to more of the math side of things with finance. And so went that route. At CSU, you can choose from 3 different options of a direction within the finance field.
Yeah.
And I kind of randomly picked personal finance, and then that ended up leading me into my first career and what I did before starting Nomad.
Did you ever hear of a place called the Pickle Shack, or what is it called?
The Pickle Barrel.
The Pickle Barrel, right? It's a sandwich shop up there in Fort Collins.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Okay, so I went there once. I do not remember the sandwich I had, but it was definitely delicious. It was a great time. It was around the time midsummer or so. So I went up there. It was a bicycle festival or something like that.
Yeah, well, they do a bunch of different bike runs, and New Belgium has their run where everyone dresses up in costumes and drinks the New Belgium and, and goes from there. So there's always something going on in Fort Collins, which made it awesome to be where I went to school and where I go and visit.
Did you have a job while you were in college?
Yep, yeah, I actually worked for Coopersmith's, it's a pub and brewery up in Fort Collins, right down in Old Town, and I always suggest someone should have a server job at some point in their life because it teaches you a lot. You know, you get interact with all different kinds of people, some happy, some not so happy. So
that's a great point.
All points.
You make a very valid point. A mentor of mine mentioned, going through a hiring process is to try and find individuals that have had a serving job before, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's at a golf course, whether it's in a retail environment, because you pick up on soft skills to be able to have a higher emotional intelligence and working with individuals, good or bad. But the more you can get chewed up and spit out, working with customers and still trying to satisfy them at the end of the day, is something that can be prevalent coming ahead into the business.
Yeah, and I think you get a lot of opportunities to read people.
Yeah.
You're not going to be 100% when you're trying to read somebody's body language and kind of their tendencies, but you get a good feel if someone's in the mood to talk to you more and they want to kind of interact, or if they want to place their order and have you bring it, and that's that. So you kind of pick up on things like that, and I think that applies in every aspect of life, whether you're in business or whether you're waiting in line.
There you go. Hey guys, if you're watching this right now, go ahead and grab your phone, go to the Fluent Hustle Facebook page and share this throughout your network. Make a comment, give us some love right now. We really appreciate this. We actually got a couple activities going on right now, so it's pretty good. Do you know who Scott and Jackie are?
Yeah, so Jackie O'Hara is my aunt. Also, they're both big Rams fans as well.
Okay.
And then Scott Kentz is the third party in Nomad Logistics. He's Sam and I's business partner.
Awesome. Hello, Scott. Hello, Jackie. Thank you guys very much for liking our post. Please share this throughout your network. You have an incredible individual right here on your side. So, went to school for personal finance, right? Graduated. And then what did you do in terms of a career immediately following college?
So immediately following college, I actually went and tried to be an advisor, a financial advisor with AXA Advisors, and did that for about a year and a half. Had some success, and also, first time selling and being 22 years old out of college, it's a tough spot to be in. So I went from that position, and then I went into wholesaling. Which I worked for a company called North Star Securities, and we sold non-traded REITs, which are basically a bundled up real estate investment.
So being 22 years old, essentially fresh out of college, with minimum practical finance history and skills, what challenge did you come across when you're approaching those clients and saying, hey, I want to handle your personal finances?
Well, I think on the technical side of things, the basics of finance, Colorado State did a great job of setting us up to succeed. The hardest part of it, I would say, is they don't have a sales class. They don't teach you to go out and call all your friends and family and kind of put yourself out there as a position and a resource for everyone. And so that's the hardest part to learn. And I think the only way to do that is through practicing and through doing it and failing. And so that was definitely the toughest part. It was the part that made me want to go back and maybe into wholesaling, where you're working with other, more business to business sales versus business to individuals. Yeah. And it's a little less personal. And I think that was a good buffer for me transitioning from the advisor role to the wholesalers, because you're still working and building those sales skills, and but in a less personal role, and where I think you have an easier way. It's an easier set to kind of.
So were you cold calling? Were you hammering for referrals?
Yeah, all the above.
Let's talk about that sales process, and how has that experience been a value add to where you are right now?
Well, so as an advisor, basically was just trying to get myself out there and known as much as possible. So we met in a networking group, granted it was for Nomad, but I joined a networking group as an advisor. You would go to all those, networking events where people, after work are meeting at the local golf club and you're passing out cards. Yeah,
slinging cards to everyone that try to get what you can get.
Walk out with 50 business cards and not remember a single conversation. But
yeah. I've done that many a times before, and I've seen that countless times out in the networking environment. So, quick takeaway. If you're going to get into networking and whatever you're selling, whether you're logistics, whether you're business development, whether you're in finances, find the opportunity to make personal relationships moving forward. And remember those conversations as best as possible. So I made many mistakes doing that as well. It seems like you might have done that once or twice in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And then more of my cold calling experience came from North Star, where basically we had a territory that we covered. You had a number of advisors that you had to reach out to, and you kind of went for it. So that's really where you get tougher skin, the thicker skin, because you get hung up on. You get people that are like, rude immediately when they answer the phone, and so you learn to deal with that. But I think that's a positive. You have to go through those experiences, and it makes those wins and the success even better.
I love it. Well, I love cold calling. Not many people love cold calling. I love cold calling. But when I started early on, my first job was I was doing telesurveys. So I had to call on homeowners between the hours of 6 to 9. Right? I'm having dinner. I'm with my kids. I'm putting someone to sleep, whatever it might be. And I'm trying to ask them, hey, what's your favorite soda? Where do you like to eat, on a regular basis? And depending on how they answer those questions, I would go deeper and deeper into the survey. And I can't tell you the countless amount of times I got hung up on. And then my career, and being in financial sales as well, there was a ton of cold calling early on out the gates. Until I was able to get the referral opportunities. But even until most recently, it was still a good amount of cold calling. But you get the tougher skin, you become resilient, you figure out how to handle those objections.
So how did you do that? What was your favorite line to keep people on the phone?
Oh man, it was countless. I don't know if off the top of my head, I don't have a favorite line.
Yeah.
I would, you just have to be, you have to be creative, one, and you have to expect the no before the call is even made. And expecting the no before the call is even made is essentially giving you in a position to be able to not take it personal when you get that no.
Yeah.
So if you know the no is coming, you're prepared to hear it, and you're prepared to maneuver around it, and you're having the handling your rebuttals on those objections quicker. So hopefully, I don't have a favorite line because there's no line. Yeah, put me on a spot. There definitely wasn't a favorite line that comes to mind. So let's talk about Nomad Logistics. How did you decide to get into the moving for residential and commercial, and then come up with the game plan to kick off Nomad Logistics over a year ago? What's the story behind all of that?
Well, so like I mentioned before, I always kind of wanted to have a company that was a blue collar work type company, and then didn't know what it was going to be. My brother Sam, while he was at Colorado State, ended up working for a commercial furniture installer and mover.
Okay.
And so he got the experience, he got the certifications, and was kind of looking at the work he was doing, the other companies that were involved in the space, and saw an opportunity, especially here in Colorado, with all of the moving parts, the influx of people, the businesses that are here and thriving. And so saw that as an opportunity to be a new company coming into the space and, take up some of the work that was there.
Yeah.
And so what we were able to do is basically take a little bit of my business and sales background and take his background of being in, commercial moving and having, the Knoll and the Hahn and Steelworks, those certifications or Steelcase to work within a business when you're setting up cubicles and things like that. And so we've got that. And then we've also have this other piece that I think a lot of companies in that industry may not have, is more of the consumer-oriented business focus side of it as well.
Okay. So you're focusing on the residential side, but then you also have some key components to work on commercial for relocations, but then you're also doing build outs for those moves as well?
Yeah. So if we're moving there, if they've got systems furniture, whether that's a set of cubes or anything like that, we can break them down. move them for you and get them set up however you want them to be in the new space, or even just do reconfigurations in the same space that you're already in.
So one day you woke up, you're probably watching a Colorado State football game, or you're probably at the game,
Yeah.
and it just hit you. What was that moment like, and how did you come with the idea to say, man, we got to get into this?
Well, I don't think it was ever a specific moment. Like I said, it was this lingering desire that I had to start a company, and then things at North Star were kind of slowing down. The industry itself that we were in, and the non-traded REIT industry was slowing up. And so I kind of had some time on my hands while working there to start thinking about what exactly I wanted to do. And,
Sure.
Then I was talking to Sam as well, obviously, is a big piece of this, and saying, do you think, what would we need to get this thing started? What would we need to do in order to get, a moving company launched? And so conversations with him, and then kind of meeting Scott in the process as well, who we had known through Colorado State at tailgating and things like that.
And
so
got some good fun going over there, Scott, huh?
And he's an excellent resource as a businessman. And we started talking with him, and getting quotes on what does insurance look like, what are the costs and the overhead associated with this, and getting that lined up. And then once we kind of had a vision of what it would take, we were able to start pulling the trigger and
well, so going through that strategy planning, speaking with Scott, speaking with Sam, 3 S's, huh?
Yeah.
Scott, Sam, and Shane. What was the biggest challenge that you guys were facing? Was it the insurance component? Was it the capital funding? Was it, the customer acquisitions? What kind of comes to mind where you're like, hey, a year ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, as we're trying to get, to flip the switch to start, Nomad, what sticks out the most to you?
I think it's always customer acquisition. I mean, you can get all the pieces in place, but if no one's calling you to move them, that's not going to be a successful business. So the biggest thing was lining up our clients and making sure that we were going to be able to keep ourselves busy in the first year. And like I said, kind of identifying the opportunity with the influx of people into Colorado and the businesses that are shuffling around. We were able to do that through a number of different ways, whether it's online, through like Home Advisors, sites like that,
sure,
things like that. And so we were able to start getting the business flow in, and then I was able to see, all right, we've got the business flow. I can leave North Star and the security a little bit and go for this full speed. So
and how long ago was that when you left North Star?
I left North Star at the end of February last year, so
okay,
about right now.
Okay,
about right now.
Good. So let's talk about the customer acquisition aspect of the challenge you're dealing with, right? Everyone says that they're better, right? Because it's pride. But what makes you guys different? Like, what's the differing factors that your customers have told you, or that you've experienced in the marketplace that you guys take great pride in?
I think the actual experience that we provide. In a move, specifically, we'll talk about a residential move. I think that makes us a little bit different. Is the guys that we have on the moves, including myself and my brother, are very personable. We're interacting with our clients, when they want to be, kind of like we read before. And, I think making sure that they know and kind of trust us throughout the whole process. So they trust that we're going to take care of their belongings. They trust that we're going to be there when we said we're going to be there, and they trust that we're going to get it to where it wants to go. And we've been able to deliver on that time and time again now. And I think just the basically security that we can provide in a stressful situation in moving. Nobody really likes to move. It's
sure,
you're packing up all your stuff. You've got a bunch of moving parts. A lot of times you're closing on a house, and you got to sell the house that you're in currently. And so there's a lot of stuff going on. And if we can just make it easy to take care of that portion of it, that's what we like to do. So
it gives
take some
peace of mind.
Exactly.
So you work on the trust factor, work on the peace of mind, the ease of use, the reliability, and truly being there for your clients, throughout that lifestyle change you're dealing with.
And we do that with a number of different ways, like I said, on the job, and then kind of touch points leading up to it. We do an on-site bid. So we go out and see everything that's going to be moving, and so we're fully prepared for the move. And then we have contact with the person throughout the way, week of, you're going to get an email that says we're going to be here at this time, like we've already discussed, but just, they see that, okay, they're still on
reaffirming the situation.
Yeah. And so I think those touch points, and then we follow up, I think, with something that's really unique that a lot of companies don't do, and has kind of gone by the wayside, is a handwritten thank you to our clients on the back end.
Nice personal touch right there.
Yeah.
What comes to mind of like the most interesting move you've had in this past year?
I don't know. We see so much random stuff, things you wouldn't believe. We get everything from the hoarders, to people that are like leaving their whole house there, but they want you to move a few boxes out. But one that I always kind of sticks out to me is we were moving this guy, and it was kind of a last minute deal, and he had us come, but he wanted us to load up his trailers, which he was going to have to do multiple runs in the trailer, which we could just do one big run in our truck. But it's like, whatever, that's what you want to do. And so his last day of the move, this basically took 3 days of like 3 hours at a time. So not a big deal, but it was just stretched out.
Yeah, definitely wasn't efficient.
The third day, we were picking up a couch, and a cat like shoots out from inside of the couch as we had picked it up, and like flies out. So we'd been there and had not seen a cat the whole time. We moved everything out of the house, hadn't seen it at all. And so this cat shoots out, runs up the stairs, and we went to the guy, and we were like, "Did you know you have a cat like living in the basement?" And he's like, "Oh, I thought the thing died like months ago." I had no idea that it was still living down there. I don't know what it was eating, but it's. So you see all walks of life, you see everything. So
has there been an interesting move request that you guys have walked away from?
That we've walked away from. Not because it was so. We get a few calls every now and then to actually move brick and mortar homes. So not the contents of the house, but the actual house itself. And I said,
are these like prefabricated homes?
Yeah, usually. Okay. And I think it would have to be. I don't know, but I said no. That's not in our realm.
Yeah, that's not in your wheelhouse at all.
Yeah, hot tubs. We don't like to move hot tubs. Things like that. But most of the time, we'll take a look at it. If we can do it, we'll move it.
All right. So, what's the future of your industry? Like, not Nomad Logistics in particular, but where do you see the moving industry coming down the road? 10 years from now.
The industry itself. That's. Kind of goes back to why I liked it going into it. There's not a whole lot that can change in terms of what you need. You need labor, you need the trucks, you need the equipment to get it moved. But hopefully you'll see a trend, because a lot of times, and another reason I saw the opportunity is that there is a bad connotation with a lot of moving companies that they sent a bunch of riffraff, they weren't here on time. All those types of things, and hopefully you'll see it move to more of a service, and actually that service industry where people feel like their stuff's getting taken care of, and they're getting what they need out of it, and for the right price. Yeah,
and you mean by service is like very service oriented, where the customer seems to be always winning.
Yeah,
on a regular basis, and it's that people bring more value to the marketplace, and trying to clean up that stigmatism that's going on with moving being a bad industry overall, right?
Yeah.
So that when people are ready to move, they're excited that Nomad's going to take care of them without the shadow of a doubt of anything going wrong.
And that can mean a number of different things. It can mean they want a full service move, everything packed, everything loaded up. Or, if someone wants to go a more economical route, we can just move all the big items that you can't fit into the back of your truck or into the back of your car, whatever it may be, and just get that done in one swoop, and people can handle the rest of it on their own to keep costs down. I think that is a transition that you have seen in the industry, though. A lot more people are doing that with things like the pods, and they're loading stuff up themselves and then having the transportation aspect of it taken care of for them.
So if someone's looking to move with you, to schedule a move, how can they get in touch with you? What's the easiest way?
Well, you can go through our website, which is www.nomadlogisticsllc.com, and then you just click for a free estimate, or you can always contact me directly by cell or email, which is all on the website.
And what areas? What areas do you guys service?
We'll go anywhere. So,
Anywhere, okay.
so we've actually in our first year been in 33 states already, and we'd like for at least one end of that to be in Denver.
Okay.
It usually doesn't make sense for us to fly somewhere, drive it, and then fly back again. But locally, is obviously our sweet spot in northern Colorado. But we've last week we were out in Fruita, and then the week before we were in Montrose. So we really will cover the state. If it makes sense for the customer and it makes sense for us, then we can make it happen. We're flying out to San Francisco this evening. We're back to Denver as well. So.
Awesome. What is on the horizon for Nomad? I know before we got on air, you mentioned some pretty cool things that's taking you guys to the next level. What is the customer? What should your current customer base, your clients, and your future customers expect moving forward of additional value that you guys will be able to bring to the table for them?
Well, I think they should expect the same level of customer service that we've brought, and even as we grow, because right now, myself and my brother, at least one of us is on every move. But as we grow and as we build out this company, that's just physically not going to be possible. So we're making sure that we bring on people that have the same goals as we do in terms of providing a good service for the client. And I think everyone that we've worked with so far on our team has met those. We've been really lucky to have a good group of guys to work for us, and it makes work fun too, because there's some long days moving, and you get some big moves that you're coming home at midnight finishing up.
It beats you up, right?
Yeah. It's hard work. I was always like, I felt like I had back problems in the office, and it's like actually you get stronger in those back problems. But yeah, I think they should expect, the same type of service. But we're learning as you go too. Each move, something pops up, where, whether it's breaking down a certain brand of treadmill or, a certain door frame, and you just learn little nicks and knacks and like how you have to maneuver things, how you need to break down different furniture, and as we run into those things, we've become better movers ourselves.
So you mentioned that you guys are bringing on a warehouse?
Yes. So we closed on our warehouse in December and are now offering storage space. Not your typical storage like self-storage where you get your lock and you can go and get your stuff whenever you want, but we can bring stuff on for long-term or short-term. A lot of times people have some downtime really in between moves. A lot of times they're going into a new build or something like that, and they need a place to put their stuff. We can move you out, bring it to our warehouse, and then just bring it right to you whenever you're ready for it. So
that's pretty solid.
So we're implementing that right now, which will allow us to do some warehousing as well for companies that have inventory but don't have their own warehouse, things like that. So it's really a flexible space for us right now. And so we're looking to add that to the business plan in 2018.
Beautiful. Good to hear that. And you guys are hiring?
We are hiring. We are growing. So we are adding trucks to the fleet this year. Hopefully we'll have about 3 moving a day in the summer months here. And so we need guys and we need the crew to fill those out. All
right. Well, if you guys are good quality individuals, if you're hustlers, if you're willing to help out, and communicate, at a top level, because right now their customer service seems to be impeccable. So we want to make sure we continue to make that happen. But go to nomadlogisticsllc.com and contact Shane and Sam and Scott to see if you can get your application in with this wonderful company.
How often do you get paid to work out?
Me? I don't know. My gut's not saying much, man.
You get paid to work out.
Pretty much. I respect your industry. I know that. The few moves that I've made in the past, and when my friends ask me to move, I'm like, you know what, I'm good. You rather call Shane, and I'll pay the $50 or $100 on top of whatever else you got to do to make that happen. So, from your 1 year of being in business right now, looking back a year ago, what would you have done differently to get you guys ahead? And it's not to say that things are good or bad, but if there's something that kind of resonates with you to say, man, I wish we had done this out the gates, or I wish we weren't reserved on this particular aspect, or I wish we just had to pull the trigger on a decision you guys didn't make.
I don't know. That's a good question. Looking back, I think the biggest mistakes that we can make and that we've made in the beginning are going into moves and kind of underestimating them. And so if you underestimate the move, you quickly learn not to do that again because you don't get paid what you feel like you should have got paid for, and then you also worked a lot harder than you were anticipating going into.
Right.
And so
good workout.
Yeah, so you still get that workout. And I think just going forward, you guys got to break down that bit a little bit more, and we've done a really good job of learning from those. And I think every one of those that we ran into that became a little bit more work than we were anticipating, our client still walked away thinking, they did a good job for us because we kind of bit the bullet ourselves, being like, all right, well, you're not going to charge them more because it was more work than we thought it was going to be.
Sure.
And so we've learned from those. I think that's the biggest learning hurdle, especially for myself when I was starting to do bids and hadn't been doing the moves as much as Sam had. And so I'd be like, oh yeah, we can knock that out in 6 hours. 11 hours later, we finished it up. So.
And then Sam's getting mad at you overall. So I'm not quite sure what happened here. We might have gotten disconnected. Hopefully not. But what advice would you give to an entrepreneur, an individual that's looking to step into business, someone that might be in a corporate job right now and just kind of reluctant, holding back on pulling that trigger?
I would tell them, one, to expect to work a lot more than you thought you were going to. I've had a lot of people be like, oh, it must be nice to make your own schedule, things like that. It's like, wow, not really. Yeah. That's not really there.
Looks like we got come over here.
Yeah, I'll slide over.
We got shifted over a little bit, so we're back on. So sorry about that, guys.
But yeah, I think overall it's really rewarding. As we've seen on a day-to-day basis, you don't necessarily see the accomplishments that you've made as a company, and you don't see the growth. But when we look back at the first year that we had, going from myself and my brother and our truck that we had gotten to now that we've got crew members, we've got a warehouse, we're adding trucks, all that stuff, you start to see it actually grow and come to fruition. That's really rewarding in the long run. And then to know, I think it's easier for me and for entrepreneurs, they just kind of have it that it's easier to work really hard and harder than you thought you did before when it's working for yourself.
Right.
Because you kind of put yourself in that situation and you got to get yourself out in some situations.
So you make a very valid point is, working harder than you did before for someone else, you're working for yourself. What's your why? What's your purpose? Like, what's really keeping you fired up about what you're doing to make a change for yourself, your family, and your company, and your clients will grow?
I think it's the initial, like I said, I went to school initially to be an engineer, and that desire to kind of build. And the why for me is really the result on the back end. Seeing that growth and seeing all that makes it all worthwhile to me. That's really just to continue to build and to have a bigger, not always bigger, but better presence, and to be able to hire people and get them started. And if I can pass down any knowledge to them and how got started in business myself, that's a positive. But I think overall the why is to see what you can build.
Sure.
See what you can make of something.
Beautiful. Love that. What resources are you looking for right now to bring into your business? Obviously, you're looking to hire people. What power partners would you say are very good for you to then help further your growth throughout 2018? So if we had any connections out here watching and they want to work with you, what kind of power partner would be ideal?
Well, we obviously love realtors. They send a lot of business our way, and we're very grateful for that. On the residential side, on the business side, which is where we could see a lot more consistent growth. We like organizations that have multiple locations, that just have moving parts. So you maybe not moving entire departments or things like that, but you just have shuffling parts within your organization. But those are great partners for us because that's recurring business. That's something we can build on and kind of rely on as we move forward. So things like hospitals and banks and things like that where they've got those multiple locations and they've got, larger items where it's not just bringing, files from one to one, which is now shared electronically. It's,
Right.
Actual equipment and things like that.
How about Amazon coming out to dinner? How do you feel about that?
Hey, if we could get into the last mile delivery side of it, I'd love it.
Good stuff, good stuff. All right, guys. Ira Coleman here, founder of Fluent Hustle. Just had Shane Elliott, Nomad Logistics, on the show. Phenomenal insight, great takeaways. You are ultimate and an ultimate hustler in making it happen in the best intents possible. When I first met you, you're super inspiring. 27 years young. You got plenty of future ahead of you, and I'm super excited to see what you, Scott, and Sam can come together with to really take it to the next level. If you're watching this, again, please go ahead and share, make comments, but then also get in touch with Shane. We'd love to help him out, do some networking. He's not afraid to get out there and shake hands and kiss babies and make those relationships happen overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much for tuning in. We'll catch up with you on our next show. Take care, guys.